Hello, everybody. I'm Ed Parcaut here with Brian Galke, and we are ACES53. And what that is I don't know, about 18 million years ago, I was in college and somebody said, hey, remember about four aces and a joker, which has to do with attitude, commitment, enthusiasm, and smile. And the 53 has to do with it's the first joker in the deck of cards, and our jokers come on Thursday. Basically, that's that unique ability you have in sales or something you bring to the table that you've learned. And one of those people who teaches a lot of unique abilities, that would be Brian.
Yes. Thank you.
No problem. Just rolled right into you.
I know. Well,
Well,
after Tuesday,
more, yeah. All right. So there's a lot of shit going on. First, I'm not going to get political, but it's amazing what a week can do. That's all I'm going to say. It seems like we're going forward and things are getting better. But then again, there are going to be a lot of speed bumps along the way. So,
right.
Yeah. I mean, nothing's going to be fixed overnight, even though they think it is. And what I want to talk about, I came across. Did you want to say anything before I get going?
No, I was going to say the topic today. I have another one to add to it. We'll do that in a minute.
All right. Well, we always want to know what we want to talk about. Normally, we get on here, we just throw a few things out, and then we figure it out later. But I think one of the things I was sent an email about how to be compliant against the new FCC rules that are coming into play, and come to find out, I mean, they were probably put into play a while back, but they really come into play in January. And the question is really going to be is how the new administration is going to be, because they hate all these type of things. They want to protect the people, but they just hate extra rules. And I was asking, what did I do? I sent it to you. So I can just go over here and find that part. I wanted to know what the new rules were. And it says, as of January 27, now don't quote me because of course, I use ChatGPT, my assistant. It said the FCC has implemented new lead generation regulations to enhance consumer protection against unwanted communication. These rules effective today introduce stricter requirements for obtaining consumer consent and managing marketing communication. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because a lot of us just have our own website. And there could be people out there coming to your website to see if you're compliant and actually sue you for money just for the fun of it. So they have a way to make their mortgage payment. Well, they probably don't have a mortgage. They probably just have rent. Not that I'm knocking them. I'm just saying that's probably not what they have.
Yeah.
So be careful is all I'm going to get. We'll talk about a few things, but I'm just saying you need to find out if you are compliant.
Yes. That's if you watched, and we talked about this a few months ago, and that was FTC was coming after social media influencers things. So now what they want to say is basically there's been too much kind of going on with social media. Several years ago, there was the do not call list that went out where you could get fined if you called that
forever.
Right.
So just so you know, that's been around forever.
Right.
It's been in because I've been in the mortgage industry forever, and we had to deal with that a long time ago, and we had to scrub our list against people that we were calling to see if they were on the do not call list. I don't want to scrub my list against the do not call. I do not want to call. I don't want to do robocalls. I don't want it. Nobody else wants it. So why are we doing it?
That's what I really don't understand. Literally today, I got 5 of those. Hey, you've been approved for the 75,000. It's always this is Morgan with da da da. And I'm like, why am I getting all these when we're supposed to have that? Because I put my number on a long time ago, but it doesn't really seem to stop anything. It's just interesting all the different phone scams that are out there.
Well, the question really is where are they coming from? Because this doesn't work in India. This doesn't work in other countries. This is only for the United States. So if the call centers outside of the United States, they can do this kind of thing. And if anybody listening knows better than me, please comment and tell us what we need to do. And we'll have you come on and you can talk about it even more.
Yeah.
We're just putting it out there to protect you because we're all in some of the stuff we do, companies of one. My own personal website at Parcaut, I could have a lot of this, but I was asking the platforms, how does a small, I was wondering if this is only for large companies. No, it's for individuals and large size companies. It's for everybody.
Well, one of the ones that you sent me, let me see if I can find it now that I was reading is like, was all when we were talking about the, people give you their number when so if you have a lead magnet, some type of giveaway, where you sit there and say, oh, okay, well, I'm going to give this and go ahead and give me your phone number. Now you have to worry about, can you send a text? Because what was it? We wanted double automation for it. Let me see if I can find it.
Well, was that before the individual or after the individual?
It was in the original one you sent. Yeah. So here was what some of the ones that was interesting is one-to-one consent. Marketers must obtain explicit individual consent for consumers for each specific seller. So you can't even share lists anymore
No,
like you did before.
I don't
That's going
think
to be
that was
really
ever a good thing.
well, I know, but a lot of people did that. So here's the question is like, if you have a partnership with somebody and you both have companies, do you have to list both the companies? That's where it's going to be interesting to read through it. But there was another one I thought, yeah, so restriction on sharing information. You can't share customer information across multiple marketing partners. It's prohibited now. Consumers must consent to communications from each seller individually rather than a general consent covering multiple entities.
Right. So that would be somebody like a mortgage company, real estate company, and a mortgage company that are tied together, that affiliates owned by the same company.
Yep.
Each place have to say, yes, you can sell my information, but who says that anymore? Everybody says
That's
no.
the whole thing, right? And then
If they don't, and then the whole do not call and text message regulations, all that kind of stuff. And that's what I think what your guy that you were part of was saying, that he's really nervous because of the whole text message stuff and getting that phone number. I just say you have to click the box saying I'm okay getting that information, because you'll get. So while we're talking about this, I asked it, how does an individual stay compliant? It told me all this stuff. And I said, well, how about I go, is there any technology out there? And it gave me a huge list of technology. If somebody wants, I can send it to them. But I said, what about high level? And they're like, yeah, this is really good. It does blah, 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 blah. I said, is there anything that it doesn't do? Oh yeah. But, so it's not the catch all for one. You have to be, what I would say to do is find somebody who knows how to make sure that you're compliant and hire them to make sure you're compliant.
It's going to be interesting. To your point, this is one of those things you need to learn to invest in someone. When we all get started, we bootstrap as much as we can, but you have to be going to experts for things. So it's kind of like, don't just start a company, right? You need to go do an LLC and all these things. Now there's going to be these other restrictions that are out there. And a lot of the advice that you can get from older information is now going to be outdated as of just this that came out. Would you say it came out Monday?
Well, 27th.
Yeah, the 27th. So
yeah, yesterday.
Yeah. And so that's going to be the crazy part, is you don't know if the advice that you're following. So let's say you take a business course from prior to Monday, it may not mention any of this. It may have been like, hey, you want to get their phone numbers and text them and do all these things, but now that's outdated advice. And you and I talked about this before. When I got started, there was some coaches who said like, hey, go buy followers, go buy reviews, go do those things. And I never did, because I was like, I don't want to have to keep up with it, because what they said is you'd see spikes of, you get 5,000 followers and lose 5,000 because every month the bots would fall off. Well, this year the FTC went after that. So that was one of the things I was looking at. Excuse me. So now the FTC, so you're talking about FCC. So Frank, Charlie. I'm talking about Frank, Tango, Charlie. FTC.
That's the trade.
Yeah, one. Federal Trade Commission, right. So they went after, and so it says they're cracking down on social media influencers and brands concerning the marketing practices. And the crackdown is to ensure transparency and fairness in digital advertising. So now you're going to have to say, yes, I've bought followers. Yes, I've paid for engagement. They said right now they plan to ban fake reviews. And then they also want to stop the sale of fake social media metrics, followers, likes, comments, all these things. And they're going to fine people too. And so there's a guy named... What's that?
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just start using YouTube. Make all your stuff on YouTube. Don't worry about anything else, and make it what people want, and only focus on one channel, YouTube, and put those things on your stuff. And I'm just saying, don't focus. This is the problem. Everybody wants the whole social media, to me, will be dead in the future. What I mean by that is there's going to be so many restrictions on it. It's going to be only people who put their personal stuff back on there's going to do anything.
Right. Well, you look at what happened with TikTok. People, to your point, with what happened, 2 weeks ago, a week ago with TikTok, people have started looking and saying, okay, you're absolutely right. What should I go all in on? And some people are saying, go to YouTube. Other people say, no, you need to go to Loom, because YouTube still has censorship and other things. So people are starting to look at, what are the areas that I can keep my data safe?
Now on Loom, you're talking about the videos that you record that you're with you on them.
Yes, but you can say like, I want a hosted Loom for just my videos.
Oh, I didn't know.
Aren't censored or done anything like that. But then it's, how do you share the information?
Right. But what happens when Loom gets bought by BlackRock or some other company like that?
Right.
And then next thing you know, they're going to have control. That's why it should be, okay, create your own community on like a Go High Level or school, something like that. Just create that stuff, have it there, have everybody go there, and forget about. I'm just saying, if you focus on your perfect client, your avatar, you can bring them to you, and you don't need to do all this other stuff that everybody thinks you should do. Because everybody's like, you're crazy. I've talked to so many people who are just focusing on one avenue and focusing on a client, and it's doing drastically better.
Yes. There's several people that's in the book we talked about. Oh gosh, I just drew blank on it. Oh, Book Yourself Solid. That's the same thing. Is they call it the velvet rope. Who do you want to let into your VIPs that you really want to serve versus selling tickets to everybody?
Right.
And so many people have gone down that. Speaking of which, you like to talk about podcasts a lot. I just started watching the last 2 weeks. What do you call it? Diary of a CEO. Have you seen that? DOAC?
Mm-mm.
He's actually really interesting. I started watching him. He did a really good one with Daniel Priestley, and I picked up Daniel Priestley's books in 2012. I think he said he wrote it before that. And so that was his whole thing was, you need to have personal branding, hence key person of influence. People are going to go away from following companies. They're going to follow people. Almost everything that he wrote in that book was prophetic because it came to true fruition after the fact. And it's just interesting to see how everything has shifted. In the interview that he was on, they were talking about the entire thing of this is the biggest change since like the industrial age came and took away farming in the past. And how are you going to embrace and be a part of it with all the information and the data?
Right. I mean, because even with, we've been talking about, I want to stay on this topic, but this is just in my head and I'll forget. With the AI, how we've been talking about how, the American consumer has been dealing with ChatGPT, OpenAI, all that kind of stuff. And there's been hundreds of millions of dollars poured into that to grow these types of things. Google has it, a bunch of other things. And then you have the thing I sent you about China's company that came out, DeepSeek or whatever it was.
Yep.
What they did is they took OpenAI and created theirs off of that. So they re-engineered OpenAI and created their own and made it better. And it cost them $5 million. And one of the questions going to be is, like, I think you text me, I can't believe that it's not blocked yet because TikTok was and all that kind of stuff. Well, you can't ask it questions about the Chinese government.
Mm-hmm.
It won't give them to you.
Ah, interesting.
You can't search that stuff on there.
Right.
So think about, the question is there, if we saw skews in AI when we first opened it up, it was so left wing, and I'm not trying to get political, but it would make comments about one party only, how great they were, and wouldn't talk about the other party because it was learned from people in the beginning who programmed it.
Mm-hmm.
And that has since somewhat changed, but it is only grabbing the stuff that's out there. And like the stuff that we use today, it could have been lying to us. And if it can lie to you because it can make mistakes, what do you think another one from a different country could do if they really want to mess with it? I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theory, but there is ways of this stuff to tell us and start lying to us. So be careful. That's all I'm trying
That's
to say.
exactly. Well, I've talked about this months ago with just how AI is and what can be out there. Is stop believing what you see online unless you were there or someone who was there. Not this friend of a friend who heard this. Because now we can sit here and make up videos where I could deep fake your face and I can say whatever I want. It looks like you're the one saying it,
To a certain point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's close. It's not 100%.
Right.
People who know who you really are and can hear your voice, they'll know the difference. But you're right. They're getting so close. It's going to be so close and that's why ChatGPT can't take your persona and turn it into something.
Right.
It won't let it. But that's not saying that other one won't be able to do it. I'm just saying we have to, it's what happened this week with AI stocks on Monday. NASDAQ was down, I don't know, at one point 800 points, and all those AI companies were down except for Microsoft because they weren't all in on it.
Right.
So I'm just saying, be careful out there.
Yeah.
Oh,
you were just talking about once they released that all the markets went down. It was very interesting. It affected the stock market. Nvidia stock went down. All these things because of a free AI that they say is going to be better and obviously cheaper because it's free and supposed to have more features than OpenAI. But like I said, it's interesting because with it being a Chinese-based company, I'm wondering when the restrictions are going to come in on it. But they did a good press release and everything today or Monday, whatever day it was. But I watched that
Who
YouTube
did?
video you sent over.
Oh, that one. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
sent to me over the weekend.
Oh, okay.
A friend of mine who is a vet, he's getting his master's and he's doing large language models. Part of that, all the instructors are making them learn that kind of stuff and how to do it. And we're in the middle of doing some stuff for the veterans with their disabilities by using that and creating a large language model to answer questions and help people fill out their VA narrative. And it's just amazing as we're doing this thing pops up and he's like, I can't believe this, what it will do and where it's going. So there's a lot of, I think we're going to see some restriction put on this over the next year about how things are going to be and how far it can grow, because, I've seen Terminator.
iRobot. Come on, we got Elon building robots that look like the iRobot. He's already got the bus that looks like it. So.
Actually, the thing I've seen out there is the electric VW bus. I wouldn't mind.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah. So yeah.
I see they just opened up a Rivian or whatever that other one is, a storefront right by me. And then of course, Teslas are everywhere. It's interesting. I saw an article today that said we're going to have to, with AI processing alone, I think I did a screenshot of it. It's going to take 5 times the amount of energy that we currently have today. Yeah. So CEO BlackRock, Larry Fink, warns AI needs 6x more energy in the next 5 years. So it's interesting if you look at places where we're already having rolling brownouts and blackouts and things of that nature, where are we going to come up with the 6 times that?
Well, that's why they've been buying the different power companies. They've been buying the nuclear reactors that are available. These different companies are all buying that up so they can have access to that power. And that's why everybody's looking at the new future of nuclear, but it's a different type of nuclear, not like the domes in San Clemente and other places.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's going to get worse. And there's that $500 billion that was just going to be invested with the AI for medical. Did you see that? Trump and his team? Yeah. So they found the way that they're going to do it. It's I forget, Oracle's one of the people, a bank, SoftBank, I want to say, I think it is, and then the other one is the AI guy, OpenAI guy. And it's $100 billion to start, and they just talked about this last week. And they created a company that's going to set up for medical AI that would, like, you can see if you're in Modesto, California, you can see what they're doing at Stanford, or you can see what they're doing at doctors, or if you're in the small little town in the middle of nowhere in, say, Texas, you have the same information that somebody does at Stanford or any of those other places doing it, and it'll look at x-rays, everything. And so that's the goal, to where they can cure cancer with vaccinations now, by being able to utilize AI to come up with the vaccine, to create the vaccine for it.
Yeah.
It just going forward,
have been out for a while, where they grow biologics, where they grow your own solution. So whatever medical problem you have, but it's never been that accessible, and definitely not as knowledgeable now as with AI going through all the blood work and everything else.
Yeah. So it's just so, and they're like, we're going to be able to do stuff in hours instead of months and other stuff down the road. And we'll be curing more cancers and more this and more that, so much because of the information that we'll be able to process.
Right.
And that's why, they're building like multiple places. And that's the issue we're having with needing more energy. And they were saying we would never be here, and this is not getting political, just because the last administration chose on how they're looking at energy and the connection of it. And so it's so important that they needed to build all these different AI companies and everything going forward. And again, yes, they can mess with us.
Yes.
But that's not what we're focusing on today. Then I got us off the subject of FCC, which has to do with
FCC,
FCC, which has to do with phones and texting and all that, the federal, and then you were talking about the Federal Trade Commission, which has to do with the other avenues of the stuff that we deal with.
Yeah. Well, the good news, some of it is it's to save us, but what you and I were talking about before we started recording is, how is it going to be maliciously used? And there are examples of, people can go and do different things than just try and sue you for it. So there was, back in Europe a couple of years ago, like there were people just waiting to get an email or something, say, oh, I never got this, and then try and sue each company. And the way it works in a lot of the legal system is it's cheaper to settle than it is to go to court for a lot of things. And so there's a lot of people who've been suing big companies for big amounts of money. But with these new rulings come down, there might be some unscrupulous people who are going to go after the small to medium companies with just the threat of a lawsuit to try and get money out of them.
Yeah. And because we used to do a lot of this, all came up years and years ago, because we would buy lists and call people, and through our phone calls, the phones, I can't think of the word, the places where they make all the phone calls from, call centers. There's the word I was looking for. Sorry. Feels like a Monday
Words
again.
are hard.
Yeah, they're hard for me today. No, I just been exhausted. I did a ton last week, just more. And I'm at that point where it's like, I just so tired. I need to take day off.
Yeah, I had a good intense, last week was a good week. And then, cause I had a few gigs, went and hung out with my mentor, did a bunch of stuff. And this past week, I've just had a hard time getting going Monday and Tuesday. I don't know why.
If it's cold plunges.
Oh, I'm still doing the cold plunge. I've only missed one day. Did I miss the whole day? Yeah, I missed when I was in the hotel. So I wasn't at home, and then I wasn't home the rest of the day. So I've missed one cold plunge in 45 days. But no,
makes a huge difference. Changes your attitude within seconds.
Oh, yes. And I started doing what you recommended, which is I take out my ear pods and I dunk my head in the water and get back out. So I keep it at 43, and I've been doing 4 minutes at a time.
You only need 12 minutes a week.
Yeah. I just enjoy doing it daily. I actually look forward to it.
Yeah, there's your problem.
Yep.
Now it's too easy for you. If you don't get into it and go, oh, I don't want to do this, and then you do it, that's how you makes the most out of the benefits for you. I don't know if you knew that. Yeah. So I mean, it's still, and you're supposed to set, I'm going to be here for this long, and then stay 1 minute longer than that.
So 3 minutes is what they say you're supposed to do, and so I just do 4. Keep it there.
I when I was in where you are, I was doing up to 7 minutes to 10 minutes at that temperature.
Right.
What's his name does longer than that, and 20 minutes plus in colder water. It just depends on what you get used to.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying you don't have to, but it's just overall doing it. But he says to get one little extra thing out of it is to say, I'm going in for 3 minutes and then stay for 4. Then say, I'm going in for this, and you stay 1 extra minute.
Yeah. I was doing 5 to 7 when I first started, and then everybody kept sending me things like, no, that's too much. That's too much. So I cut it back down to 4.
Not at that temperature.
What's that?
Not at that temperature.
Yeah. 43, 41's I take it back. When it was in the 20s here in Dallas last week, it got down to 41 or 40, something like that. But
is it outside or inside?
It's outside. It's on my back patio.
Oh,
yeah.
So it's really going to get hot during the summer then.
I've got it kind of under an overhang, but that's the one thing I bought, a black tub. And in hindsight, I should not have done that. But this was the one that had the chiller and everything else I wanted.
Bring it inside during the winter. I mean, the summer.
No, that's a good point. I can. I've got a garage.
No, you got air conditioning in your garage?
Nope.
No. That's what I'm saying. In the house, we have air conditioning. That's where you want to put it. Yeah. It's like a bathtub.
I did buy probably the best thing I bought was the little water extractor. I don't remember what you call it, but a wet vac for the most part. Just drop it in, empty it out. So every 21 days, empty it out, refill it, clean the filter, good to go.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So we're talking about the FTC, and just being careful moving forward. One of the stuff you and I both do is high level, and doesn't care how most people go through somebody else to get it like you do. That will protect you by having certain places in place for you. However, it's not going to do everything. And that's what you have to find out what it's not doing, so you can make sure you're doing that too. And you might not even, some of the stuff might not even come into play at all.
Yeah. Well, like you said, go through a newer system. If you're watching old recordings from old advice, they may be outdated. So you just just do a double check like you did. Go look, use ChatGPT, use whatever source you want. Double check what the rules are. That's weird. I put do not disturb, and I'm still getting calls.
People just want you. They hit that little extra thing. Let me through because I'm important.
Spam. But yeah, you just got to double check things, and almost like everything else, do an audit every once in a while. Since we're in 2025 now, have you updated your website and everything else to say 2025, or does your website and all your content and all your PowerPoints and everything still say 2024? So it's little things that when we get into the beginning of the year, find out what the new rules are, and then look back at what all do you need to change or fix.
Well, most websites have that automatically updated.
Yeah.
If they do it right, it's down at the bottom. It's like put current year. It's a little code that puts.
But like if we're talking smaller people who have like GoDaddy and other things, they don't have that.
Go over to Go High Level and do it yourself. It's
Agreed.
so much better over there. The ones it's faster, super fast. I'm still trying to figure out if I really need WordPress for what I'm trying to do on my personal website, or if I could take it down and get it over to just a regular high level website, because it's so much faster. Night and day faster.
What do I have? I think Joel sent me with Cloudflare.
Yeah, that's just part of it. That's where you host your stuff. That's not your host. That's who has your domain.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's different. I'm talking those high level host it on their site.
Yes.
You send the stuff over to them.
Right. No, that's why I moved, because I was on WordPress before.
You still are. Well, you're not the WordPress site. You still have WordPress under high level under their WordPress, but their WordPress is so much faster than the rest of them.
Way faster.
However, their regular sites are like 100 times faster than that.
Yeah. They're constantly doing stuff. It's hard to keep up. Like I'll get up on is it Sundays they do the announcements. Anyway, one of the announcements, they list like everything that they're doing. And just what they keep coming out with, it's hard to know what should I focus on next, because every day it's like, and here's 25 new features. So
you know what you need to focus on next? None of that
webinars.
Shit. And just focus on you.
Yes.
What you're selling and your courses and everything like that. Getting people to sign up for your courses. And this is the same thing to everybody out there. Focus on the most expensive course and then go smaller.
Exactly.
Because I was talking to somebody, this was Alex Hermosi the other day. I was listening to him. He said how, people ask him these questions. I'm doing this, and my RO is on this. He's talking all this. He goes, okay, well, if you would just pick up the phone and call them, you would still have a much higher product to them. And then all these problems would be fixed. So set up appointments for people to get connected with you with appointments. Talk to them with appointments. Sell them on your higher feature and move on.
Yep.
Because that's what we were looking at when we're doing the disability company, how to set it up. We were doing this whole thing where people can do it on their own. And a lot of people will sign up for that and then go, oh, I don't want to do that. I want to be over here. So if you have conversations with them ahead of time, you'll get them over to where you want to get them over to and do that and sell them on the higher product that you're trying to get them into anyway. And it's not that much more expensive. We're just trying to get you where you want to go in the first place.
And keep you safe.
I'm just talking about our courses. I mean, people are still yelling at me because I haven't put my podcast course together. Well, there's 3 things I have to finish before that. February 14th, I'm released. Okay, that's Valentine's Day.
You're gonna pick Valentine's Day to release your course? That's sweet.
No, when I released my first book, it was on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
I'm doing whatever that Tuesday is. That week, close to that, is what I'm going to release my next one. So I haven't looked. All 3 of those I want to have up and ready to go on Amazon at the same time. Everybody's like, why are you doing all 3 at the same time? Because they're all different markets.
Yep. Well, okay. So then when do you think you're going to have your course again? Might as well hold you accountable.
Where's got a calendar around here somewhere?
Well, if you're going to have those on February.
Well, I'm going to tell you the calendar so I can tell you the date. Yeah. It's because it's from the book. So it's just about recording it. February 14th is a Friday. So should I do the 11th or the 18th?
11th.
18th sounds great. Yeah, the 11th. That's fine. But man, it just tells me in 3 years, how far the 14th moves forward.
This whole month is kind of flown by. Like I was looking the other day, I was like, oh God, January's almost done. Because, we had our massive snowstorm of 1 inch where we shut down because we get ice here. And so it doesn't seem like there was a January.
Saturday. That was Saturday up in my cabin.
Oh, was it?
1 inch and it turned. Yeah, it was. We were walking. I'm like, it is dropping fast. I can feel the difference in the temperature. And of course, my wife can't tell the difference, but I can. Just the way it hits your face. And from when we started, it was like 36. Okay, I was like, it's going to start snowing. And it got snow all the way down to like 2,200 feet. So and I was like, damn, it must have really got cold last night to get snow down to there.
That's well, and I'm geographically ignorant to where everything was, but it was so crazy to live in Texas and see the things like the fires, and then you're talking about snow at the same time. Like we're getting snow and ice, and then there's fires in California in that area.
It'd be like Florida all the way up past North Carolina, and the next state over straight up is how big California is.
Right.
We're huge, right? We have 43 million people or 41 million people in California. We're like 3 Texases, or I mean, we're huge. So that's why we should be 3 states: northern, central, and southern, and then everything would be so much better for the rest of the United States. Because the central people, we would go, okay, we're normal because we're central.
Yeah. I believe that about central time zone people compared to the East Coast and West Coast people, but
probably
we can agree to disagree.
They just won't allow us to move into that time zone. Yeah, we'd have to separate from California.
There you go.
All right, you want to call it?
Yeah, I'll call it for today. So once again, everybody, this is ACES53 with Ed Parcaut and myself. On Tuesdays, like today, it's just Ed and I kind of talking about a subject that we've run across that's kind of interesting for that week. And then on Thursdays, we try and bring you a joker. Not always possible, but who's a joker? It's somebody with special skill or talent. If you want to be a joker, or you have a certain subject that you want to know more about, let us know. We'll bring someone on to help address that. And the easiest way to support us is like, share, and subscribe. So those 3 things are easy. So Ed, thank you for being here today. Everyone else, thank you for joining.
And my pleasure. And by the way, on Thursday, we bring a joker in. And if you're a joker who knows more about than what we talked about today, please reach out to Brian and myself so we can have you come on and we can have you talk and let other people know either about the FTC thing or the FCC thing so that we can get that information out there. So please reach out to us by direct message, and we'd love to get you on. And Qasim, if you know something about this, why don't you reach out to us? All right. Make it a great day. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks.
Talk to everybody on Thursday. Bye.